Yeah, baby. How's everybody doing today? We had our wild card weekend of football and college football playoff games, the semis. So we'll see who will be number one at the end of the college football playoffs, and then who will be moving on. Z-Man did our picks. Z-Man, how you doing there?
I'm doing good, Joe. I'm doing real good. Today's a good day for the Z-Man because today marks 8 years cancer-free. So he's psyched. Man. So today was a good day, even though it's ice nuts in upstate New York, man. I'm still having a good day.
What do you expect?
It's even a better day because Jake is back.
Jake, that's right. How you doing, Jake?
Doing great. Thanks to all the listeners out there. I'm glad to be back.
Awesome to have you back, Jake. I know you've been on the road with the team and rocking and rolling with Jay-Woo and getting everything rocking and rolling for the conference games. So we're gonna talk to you about some hoops coming up, but let's start off.
Jeff, I got to cut you off for 1 second so we don't get yelled at again.
Go ahead.
Congratulations to Willy Katts.
I had it on my list. You're way ahead of me.
I don't want him getting mad at us again. So congratulations to Willie for winning our fantasy football league in his first year. And congratulations to Jake, who finished third in his first year.
And who finished second, by the way?
Congratulations to Joe Kett. and who won the compilation round of all the also ran, high heads.
I would guess
That's
you,
me.
Man. Way to go, Z.
So the off the chest crew is cleaning up. So, well, congratulations to Willie. Willie,
way to go, Willie.
Forget about you. Way to go.
All right, awesome. And by the way, I did see the sack exchange 30 for 30.
Nice.
Remember we talked about that at the end of our show last time. That was fantastic. I mean, listen, of course I'm biased because I went through all of that, and every game and the Gastineau and Klecko. And so, I mean, it brought back a ton of memories. And it was it was a whirlwind while it was going on. That's when the Jets were as relevant as, I guess, since they had Namath, as far as being on the back page of the Post every Monday morning, that kind of thing. They were probably even taking a lot of the steam away from the Giants, and the Giants were actually playing really well. I think I remember how that was happening, that the Jets were actually getting the back page of the Post and the News away from the Giants, and the Giants were not happy with that because the Giants were winning Super Bowls.
The Jets were still in Shea Stadium at that time.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to a Jets game at Shea Stadium?
Absolutely.
My first. Man?
It was nice. I mean, listen, to be at Shea Stadium, I went to see the Mets at Shea.
I did too, but never a football game.
Yeah, my first game was actually at Shea Stadium to see the Mets. When I saw the 70 team. So they won in 69. So the team, I saw them in 1970. And then I was at the Jets game. I'm going to say probably, if I had to guess, it was either late high school, early college. So it was either late 70s, early 80s when I went to Shea. I forgot what year they moved to. It was obviously before they moved to Giant Stadium. But once they moved to Giant Stadium, that's when we got season tickets, and we, been there and watched all those.
You've been to Yankee Stadium for football, man. I've always wanted to go to a baseball stadium to watch a football game.
Yankee Stadium is outstanding. I mean, it's perfect for football because the lines, when you can go to the second level where they have all the restaurants and bars and, kind of where the food court is and stuff, and just hang out there and see the whole field. It's awesome. It really is awesome. And obviously Yankee Stadium is just great to get to now these days, where now I can take the Metro North. Jake, you remember when we used to drive down to the Yankee games? Now we could jump on Metro North and get down there in 20 minutes. So
really,
yeah. So it's awesome. Yeah,
that's awesome. Where you get it? Where do you get it?
Right in town, right in Hastings. Right? Yeah, Hastings and Dobbs. Yeah, and it's usually I don't know if they do an express but getting down there is a breeze, and even getting back. I mean, it's much more crowded. The trains are much more crowded getting back, but I mean, I'll get a 6-pack and grab a pizza, and we'll have a 6-pack and a pizza. Remember, Jake, me, you, and Keith went to the game. We grabbed a couple of sandwiches, and I grabbed some beers, and we just went down to the game and hung out. It's awesome.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah, it's great.
That could be on the bucket list in the summer.
Oh, you got to definitely do it. Definitely do it. And I try to go every summer. I missed last summer, but usually I try to go every summer, at least one game. But anyway, so let's go back to the NFL with the No Fun League, and let's say now, Z-Man, we were talking before. I thought the games were very, very boring. I thought it was a clunker, except for the Washington game, which was a nice game, and
well, I thought the Packer game was good. I mean, it was a physical
the Packers
game.
Were out.
It was a game of attrition, Joe.
They were out.
I mean, I knew going into that game. We talked about it on the show. It was going to be difficult.
The Packers Packers got beat up. They got beat up.
Yeah. Yep. It was a game of attrition. They got beat up. I agree with you. That team going forward in the future. That team needs more discipline,
no question,
more physicality.
Yeah.
What I think they need most of all is they need more veterans.
Yeah.
They've got a great core of young guys, but they need some seasoned veterans to help them along the way. Because there was a time in that game when they were chasing, it was 16-10, and a play happened when Goddard went down the left side and he was basically punching Valentine in the face.
Right.
And then McKinney went over to the sideline and started talking to him about it. And then he walked away and he started slamming his helmet. See, that's what veterans do.
Yeah.
And the Packers are such a young team that they need more of a veteran presence. Yeah. They need more help.
Yeah, they're the youngest team in the NFL, I think.
Yes, they are the youngest team in the NFL.
They're very talented. I mean, they got beat up. They got a bunch of injuries. And but they're going to be back. Love, I think, is the real deal, and I think the Packers have a good organization. Obviously, yeah. I mean,
he made some bad plays. He's undisciplined, and again, if you've got she'll get there. If you've got veterans as backups or mentors to help these young guys out, the learning curve goes quicker. But obviously, it wasn't their year, and then. Switching gears last night. I didn't think the game was bad last night between the Rams and the Vikings. I just think, unfortunately,
I turned it off.
I just think, unfortunately, I think Darnold is coming back to the Pack, and I feel bad for him because that's going to affect his contract situation.
Oh, he's losing a lot of money.
These last two games, he kind of crapped out against the Lions for the overall 1 seed, and now the first round. And it was nice to see the Rams. It's always nice to see different teams.
Yeah, no.
But I think Joe in the NFC, it's going to be very, very difficult to beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
And you can talk to me about the Lions all you want.
They're tough, the Eagles. They got the experience. They got everything. They got a running game. I mean, Saquon's playing like a Jim Brown, and then you got a good passing game, good defense. It really depends on Hurts
just on the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Jake, any surprises? Anything you noticed this weekend that surprised you? What did you like? What did you didn't like?
I agree with you for the most part. Yeah, a bunch of snoozers.
Yeah.
I did like the Commanders and Buccaneers game. That one was I think that one was the one I was looking most forward to, and it turned out to be the best one. So
yeah, Baker, when he made when he fumbled the ball and gave him the ball right back, I said, that's it, man. But they were there. Baker played well until like I said, that turnover really killed them. And it just the Commanders, which I can't stand that name. They're playing good football. They're playing good football. I mean, Quinn is doing a great job.
I think they're going to give the Lions everything. When we get to my picks, man, I think they're going to give the Lions everything they want.
Yeah, I think they'll maybe cover. I don't think they're going to win, but they're a tough team. Listen, they're never out of the game, it seems like, and that's the thing with them.
That's Jaden Daniels, Joe. He's great. He's a great talent.
He is very talented. He's like a Lamar. They're kind of starting to compare him a little bit like Lamar. He could run. He's got a great arm.
He's a better thrower. He's a way better thrower than
he might be. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see how is because everybody was C.J. Stroud last year and now C.J.'s kind of he's kind of.
Well, I thought you guys are talking about snoozers when we switch gears and we go to the AFC.
Yeah.
I thought the Steelers. We'll talk about them in a little bit. They got issues, but I thought they were about as competitive as they could be. The Ravens were waiting for them. That home field advantage in the playoffs is so big.
Yeah, the Ravens, I think, are on a little bit of a mission. I think Lamar and I think they he wants to show everybody he can win in the playoffs and he can go all the way. So I think he's got that in the back of his mind, right, Jake? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree 100%.
I mean,
Go ahead, Joey.
No, I was just going to say, I think that they have that mindset because they've been knocked out kind of early in the playoffs that they're like, we're going to go to Buffalo and we're going to give them all they can handle. And
that's a great point, man. That people don't realize that. That's a great point that this team they have suffered early knockouts in the playoffs in the last 5 years with Jackson or whatever. So I agree with you. I think this weekend coming up is going to be real.
Oh, that's the game. That's the game to watch. And that could be, you could argue that those are the two best teams in the AFC. Let's face it, the Chiefs are not the Chiefs of old, but you just can't count them out as long as they have Mahomes under center. I mean,
we're going to find out because I think the Texans really showed good worth in the game against the Chargers with your step buddy Rex Ryan shooting his mouth off about saying how the Chargers were going to have a bye by playing the Texans, and the Texans just came out and smoked that team, man. And you know what? There's a reason why he's not a head coach in the NFL, Joe. Yeah. And I got to tell you, man, I know you and Jake are fans of. He's a loudmouth, man. I wish somebody would stick a pin in this guy. Yeah. And if I'm an NFL owner, I don't want anything to do with it. What has this guy done besides be a defensive coordinator for the Ravens when they won a Super? This guy, no, you guys should take this argument. No. You're going to start hitting the censor button.
You sound like you're underwater and you sound like you're drowning. But I'm not a big fan of Rex as a head coach. He's great on ESPN and he could say shit and he's got that big smile and joking around. I don't need that on the sideline of the Jets. Again, we had him once. He did a decent job. I'm not even going to say he did a bad job, but I can't see it going forward. I mean, it's a totally different game now. You need somebody who's got a grasp on these offenses and defenses, and we need a quarterback. I mean, obviously, that's going to be the other thing.
Well, that was one of the things that I had circled because I want to circle back to one of the points that you made a couple shows back, which I thought was really, really astute. I think now is the time to start visiting on the Rooneys, the Maras, the Johnsons, the Joneses, and the Crafts, the blue bloods of the NFL ownership. And it's about time that these owners start being held accountable. The easiest story to equate to that is looking at what the Reds, the Commanders, Redskins, whoever. Once they got rid of Dean Snyder and they got new blood in ownership, look how quickly they turned around. They got people in there that knew what they were doing.
Yep.
The Steelers, you know what? Everybody's throwing shade on Mike Tomlin. I kind of get it now. Maybe 18 years is long enough to be in one spot. But the Rooneys have to be held responsible too because they've allowed it.
Yeah. They're loyal to a fault, the Rooneys.
Just like the Maras.
Yeah, the Maras, I guess, are too. But then again, You know, they let Saquon walk, and look what happens. They don't make a trade for Daniels. Look what happens. So, I mean, you know, the Giants. I just think that they're good organizations. The Giants, the Steelers, they're even the Patriots, Kraft. They're good organizations. Like when you bring Woody Johnson into the mix, I think Woody Johnson is a horrible owner, and I don't think they're a good organization. But those other three, you can argue are good organizations. Do they win all the time? No, but they at least have a somewhat steady organizational setup where the Jets are a complete shit show. So Woody Johnson, to me, is akin to, one of the worst owners in football, and he is clueless as far as, and almost to the point of where you're like Jerry Jones in the sense of let the guys who know football run the football team. You are a billionaire. Woody Johnson, Jerry Jones are billionaires, businessmen. That doesn't make you an expert in the NFL of running a football team. And these guys are afraid to hire a Belichick because they're afraid to hand over the keys. Meanwhile, this guy, let him do his job. Parcells was like that. Just let Parcells do his job. And guys like that. Now, there are not a lot of guys out there that are like that. But if these owners could take a step back and let the football players do their football jobs, they'd be a lot better off. But anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I'll give you a hot take. I'll actually give you two quick ones before we move on.
Yeah.
One, I could see Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh next year.
Yeah, they're talking about that. Yeah, that's interesting.
I definitely could see him, especially if he can bring Devontae Adams with him, because they're both out the door.
Yeah.
I mean, for a window, a 1 or 2 year window, because that's all it's going to be.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that happening. And the whispers are coming in. How about Dion coaching the Cowboys?
Yeah, I know. I have that down. I think it's great. I would love to.
I do too.
Dion.
I think it's great.
Oh, I would love. I mean, as a fan, and I'm not a Cowboy fan by any means, but
Yeah,
as a football
nor am I.
fan, I would love it. I would love it. So let's see what happens with that. That's definitely we're still kind of far out, and then we'll see what happens with the Jets situation and all these other openings that seem to be happening, and nothing getting filled at the moment. But we'll talk about that down the road. What do you think about the college football playoffs, Jake? What do you got? What did you think about the games? Those games were okay. Did you think they were as good as advertised?
Yeah, no, I just thought they were okay. I wasn't even in tune with them very much, to be honest. But now, with the tighter schedule coming up, and now we're getting down to the final teams. I think it's going to be a little more interesting to watch. So
I think that the two best teams have come to the top. That everybody's putting shade on Notre Dame. Meanwhile, Notre Dame is one of the two teams left standing. So, they're saying, oh, well, they should be in a conference and they don't play a tough enough conference. I mean, okay, so they played Army for 100 years. They played Navy for 100 years. What do you want? I mean, of course they're going to get those kind of games. But Army was good and Navy was good this year. So you can't even say that they're, I mean, I thought that, I tell you the truth, when Army played Notre Dame at the Yankee Stadium, I was giving Army a fighter's chance. I mean, granted, that just goes to show you that Notre Dame is a high-quality team. And now they're going to be playing Ohio State, and let's see what happens. I mean, I think Ohio State is showing that they might be the best team in football, but they lost to Michigan, which is like a sin in Ohio State to lose to Michigan. But you know what? Don't matter. That game won't matter if they beat Notre Dame. So what do you think, Z?
I agree with you. I think the two best teams in this playoff are playing on Monday night.
Yep.
I like Notre Dame, but I think the injuries are finally going to catch up with them.
Yeah.
But in a winner-take-all game, anything can happen. Ohio State has really shown me a lot with that quarterback, because I've been waiting for the shoe to drop on him. But Ohio State really does have talented players, and they are playing with a monster chip on their shoulder.
No question.
Since they lost to Michigan.
Oh,
and when Michigan tried to plant that flag in the middle of the field, And this team has taken no prisoners.
Yeah, good point. That's true. Since then, they look like the team to beat. You're right. And I think that sometimes, when they say losses are bad no matter what, I think sometimes losses help. And I think in this case, if Ohio State wins, people will forget about that Michigan game. People in Ohio will forget about it because they'll have a national championship. If they lose to Notre Dame, then, oh boy, that's not good.
And the numbers don't lie.
No,
they're trying to bait you into taking Notre Dame.
Yeah,
but we'll see what happens on that.
Yep.
I mean, last week we had a down week for the numbers. We were 3-5 on the show, which brings us to 51-32 overall cap. Yeah, we're still hitting at 62%.
Z-Man, you got to go with the Z-Man picks. If you want to make money, you got to go with the Z-Man picks because you would be hitting it this year.
And so we're gonna go real quick this time.
Go ahead.
So get your pens and piece of papers out or whatever you got to write it down. Here's our run to the end zone, sponsored by the End Zone, 227 Park Avenue, Mechanicsville.
All right, run to the end zone with Z-Man.
All right, Joe Cap. Here we go, real quick in the NFL. This is the divisional round this week. First up, the Chiefs are 8.5. 41.5 over the Texans. You know what? I think the Texans are going to play hard this week. I think they're going to play with the house money. I think the Chiefs are definitely going to win this game. But I also think that the number doesn't lie. The number for the total is low, Joe. It's 41.5. We're going to go under the posted total. I think the Chiefs are going to keep it close. I think they can certainly cover as an underdog. But our favorite play here is the under 41.5. And then the other game on Saturday night, we got the Lions and the Commanders. The Lions opened up at 7.5. They're up to 9.5 now. The total's 55.5, which tells you that both teams are going to score a little bit. I think 55.5 is high, but I also think that the Commanders can keep it close. Give me the 9.5 in Washington. So on Saturday, we're going with the under 41.5 and the Chiefs, Texans. We're going to take the Commanders plus 9.5 against the Lions. Sunday, I think the Eagles are just too much for everybody in the NFC. They're a 6-point favorite, 44.5 at home against the Rams. I'll lay the 6 with the Eagles. And then the late game. The Bills opened up as a 1.5 favorite over the Ravens. As of our showtime, the Ravens are now 1.5-point favorite.
Wow.
The total is 51.5. I'm taking the Ravens. I just think the Ravens arguably could be the best team in the AFC.
That's a pretty big swing. I mean, it's a 3-point swing. I mean, that's a pretty big one, considering going to the road team, which the road teams, not one of only Washington won out of the road teams in a wild card. So that's
correct, and that's a telling stat, as you are really astute, how the number switched almost 3 points.
Wow.
For a road team, and that tells me a lot. So we're going to jump the Ravens at 1.5. And in the national championship game between Ohio State and Notre Dame, you know what? My heart says Notre Dame. The point spread is anywhere from 8 to 8.5. I just think Ohio State is playing with a purpose, and I just think the steam is running out of Notre Dame. I would like to see Notre Dame win, but from a bettor's point, it's not with your heart, it's with your head. So I'll lay the 8 points. Remember, you can, depending on where you bet on your phone or at a casino or whatever, you can buy points. My recommendation would be is to try to get Ohio State anywhere from 8 to 7. But I'm still going to side with them today. They're 8, so I'll lay the 8, and I'll take them over Notre Dame in the championship game. So there you got it, Joe.
All right,
there's my pick.
Z-Man, who does his picks from the end zone in Mechanicsville. Oh, he watches the games there. Right, Z-Man? He'd be there sucking down some beers.
And Z-Man's also been known to have a few Miller Lights there as well.
Just a couple.
Just a couple.
All right. And don't forget, go to the end zone and watch the games and mention Off the Chest and go give Z-Man a beer.
There we go. Now you're talking.
All right, Z-Man, thank you very much. So let's switch it over to the NBA. So a couple things I've noticed in this. I guess we're not really at the halfway point, but I guess maybe
Well, just about, I think, right?
Yeah, we're getting close.
I watched the Knicks last night, and they played the Pistons, and they got beat. But I think Mike Green said it was 41 games, so that's a half point.
Yeah, and the Pistons,
just about half.
Right, Jake. The Pistons are not a bad team. They're a couple games over 500. They used to be a laydown. Remember they lost like 10 or 12 in a row in December.
Yeah, they played with good energy last night. What do you think, Jake? You're the NBA guy here.
So this year they've actually been playing surprisingly well. I think they said, Mike Green was saying last night, they're 8th in the Eastern Conference. So
well, that's great. And see, that's good for the NBA.
Yeah, no question.
Some of these teams that just haven't been there in a while, they now need to start stepping up. That's good for the NBA if the Pistons can get a playoff spot.
No question. Jake, what's your take for the first half of the season? Who are the teams that you think are looking like they could go all the way? What teams are disappointing you? What teams are doing anything different? What's your take?
I think OKC out of the West. I think they're the clear favorite out of the West, and I'll tell you, with Cleveland, I think too many people are sleeping on Cleveland still.
Yeah, I
with
agree.
all these games that they've been winning, they're going to be tough, and we'll see about the playoffs. But I know they've been a tough out in this regular season. So.
Yeah, and the other night the Pacers beat Cleveland. They're actually playing tonight, a back-to-back. So I'm not really. Let's face it, the Pacers went to the finals last year, right? Or was it the
Eastern
Conference Finals, right?
Conference Finals.
So you can't even sleep on a team like that. So it's not like I mean, listen, the Knicks are not as good as an OKC. I think they're as good as the Pacers, and they might not be as good as the Cavs. The Cavs are just playing a better brand of basketball. Now, can they beat the Cavs? I think they can. In a 7-game series, anything's possible. But, man, OKC, and let's face it, the Celtics, both of them are machines. And, it's hard for me to say that they're at that same level yet. I'm not saying they can't get there. They might be just one player, one trade, one move away where they can get some help. I mean, Leon Rose has done such a good job. And, why not? If he can make a nice move before the playoffs, they can get a nice run. But, I don't think they're the elite level yet. But I think they can get there. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with everything you said there.
I mean, to me, it's OKC on the West and Celtics on the East and everybody else in between. I mean, the Cavs, you got to say, are up there too, right now. I mean, so they're healthy. They're playing well. No injuries. See, the Knicks don't have Mitchell Robinson. If they have Mitchell Robinson healthy, but that's a big if. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to be healthy. You have to be on the court. You got to be able to play. So that's part of the deal. So I don't know.
Yeah, and not to mention, there's a team that's creeping up right on the Knicks in Orlando, who's dealing with all sorts of injuries.
I was waiting to hear that, Jake.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yep. That's a good young basketball team. The problem with them is they can't stay on the floor. Their injuries are killing that team. Between Paulo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Marquise Mo
Wagner.
But Panchero's been out almost the whole season. Right? I mean,
right.
Like most of the season so far.
Yeah.
When's he coming back
now, though?
Is he back?
Yeah. He had his first game back.
Yeah, because he's tremendous. He's going to be one of those young stars that are going to be like, oh, hey-oh. So, I mean, who else?
I agree. I just think the young guys are taking over. And like when Jake was talking about the Thunder in the West, I'll give you another team to keep your eyes on. And it's not the Lakers. How about the Houston Rockets?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. The Rockets.
They're another team that's real entertaining, and they're figuring out how to play defense. They got that coach that was with the Celtics.
What's his name again? Jake, the Celtics.
Udoka.
Udoka.
Yep.
Yeah, I had to look up his name because I totally forgot his name.
And
He's a good coach.
He's got this team playing well on both ends of
Hell
the
yeah.
floor. You know what? You get like a nice team like that. And then Jake also mentioned the Pistons. That's a nice young team.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies are back with
Yeah.
John Morant. You know, you got the Timberwolves with Anthony Edwards. The NBA is such a long season, but now
Yeah.
that we're like into almost the end of football, this is when you're going to start picking up winter sports now a lot more.
Yep.
And you'll be able to start watching some games. Unfortunately, like ESPN and TNT, they force feed you the Lakers,
Yeah.
the Celtics, the
Yep.
76ers, like the Knicks. I mean, like they've got to start learning how to get some of these other teams in the mix.
Yeah.
Because it's just entertaining to watch some of these other these young teams.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
like Jake said, the Thunder.
Yeah,
they're a real good team.
they're getting. See, the thing is, they usually do a doubleheader, and now they get OKC a lot. You know, instead as much.
Well, they've got Cleveland. You know, they've got Cleveland, Indiana tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing
And
is,
Knicks
if you
tomorrow night.
notice now, they're starting the games earlier. Like now, the national TV games, a lot of times during the week, the first game of that doubleheader starts at 7, which means that the late game starts at 9:30. So if you're on the East Coast, you could basically catch almost 3/4 of that late game.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that's really, you know, that's a really big factor in it all. But, you know, they're almost at like I said, the halfway point. The All-Star game is at the second week, I think, of February.
Yeah, usually.
But now's the time where I start dipping my toe in that too.
Yeah.
So it's you know, it's really good to see.
And now college hoops is starting to kind of, you know, shape and to see who's the real deal. The SEC in college hoops now is like now it's the strong conference for hoops. I mean, it's crazy.
They got Auburn's number 1.
Yeah.
Alabama's number 4. Florida's number 5. Tennessee. Number 6.
Yep.
Kentucky's number 8.
Yep. There you
And
go.
then Texas A&M is 11.
There
So
you
they've
go.
got, again, what's that, 5 or 6 teams of the first 11?
Yeah.
I mean, that just tells you everything you need to know. But you know what I find interesting, to get off the tangent real quick? If you remember, now that winter's in session, like ESPN used to have college basketball games on Mondays,
Right.
Tuesdays, Wednesdays. Well, tonight, if you turn into ESPN, instead of getting like major college basketball, they have that indoor golf
virtual golf. That's right. I had that on my
that
list.
virtual
That's right.
golf. Have you seen this?
I've seen it. I've watched bits and pieces. It's very interesting. It's like playing golf in a basketball court.
Yes. Joe, the screen, the virtual screen is 5 stories high.
That is very cool. Very cool.
And it looks like it's built, like you said, it looks like it's built in like a small barn.
Yeah.
Basketball arena.
Yeah.
They have like real dirt.
Yep.
The putting green spins.
Yep.
I mean, there's some big cash and some big backers.
Yeah.
And again, my point is to circle back. Tonight is a big night in the SEC, and all of their games are on the family of networks, but not on ESPN.
Right. So ESPN, the first ESPN 1 or whatever you want to call it, has the golf, which is interesting because you're right. Why, but hey, it's all about eyeballs, and I think they're getting pretty good numbers as far as
Tiger's
eyeballs.
playing tonight.
What's that?
Tiger's playing tonight.
He's playing?
There's teams of 3.
Right, but I didn't think he was playing.
Yeah, no, he's also a part owner or whatever.
Right.
So he's playing. Yeah, he's playing tonight.
Then if he's playing tonight, they're going to get eyeballs tonight.
Oh, yeah. You know what? And like I said, I wouldn't watch or whatever. And last week I took a peek and we talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
And tonight I was just kind of like, okay. I mean, the place where they're doing this is like in Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah.
It's packed.
Yeah.
And like people are going berserk.
It must be cool to see it live.
Screaming.
Yes, it's like you're going to a baseball game or a basketball game, screaming and yelling and
they
drinking.
Don't care. And the golfers don't care.
No, they
like
understand.
laughing. I mean, hey, they might be onto something.
Yeah, they might be. But anyway, this is our show for, by the way, I didn't even put the date on it. It's January 14th, 2025. And so we'll be talking about a lot of stuff that's coming up.
We got a couple big things next week, man. We got the Baseball Hall of Fame elections and the NFL elections are in 3 weeks.
Yep, and we'll be talking about more of these MLB signings. They've been pretty quiet, so not a lot of hot stove.
Less than 30 days, kid. Yep. February 12th for the Yankees and the Mets.
Yep, and then coaches carousel in the NFL. That'll be going on for a while. So, and then we'll go back we'll even dip our toe into the NHL. We'll see how the Rangers are doing. They're starting to look like they might be doing a little bit better, but, it's still way too early to me. So usually February is when I start watching hockey or paying attention, unless the Rangers are playing really well.
Yeah, that's the best time. You know what I mean? In the dead of the winter, I'm with you. Yep.
So anyway, anything left for you guys before we head out and say goodbye to our listeners?
I'm happy to have Jake back. Way to be, Jake.
Yeah. Jake, welcome back. Man. Good luck, Jake, with the rest of your games. And I know you got a game tomorrow up in Maine we just talked about, and then we'll see you next week. Hopefully,
Joe, how can they reach us?
Oh, absolutely. Reach us at offthechest84 at Yahoo. And by the way, we did not have a rant this week. I'm a little disappointed, you listeners out there, that nobody has sent us a rant of the week. You could send it to our email, or you could send it. Yeah, you could send it to Moses.
Jake. Wow.
Yes. Where is our rant of the week? I know you guys are out there.
Send it to our inbox.
Yes.
Offthechest84 at yahoo.com.
Exactly.
And you know what? I really would like to get some stuff so we could talk about it.
Exactly. Come on.
I know people are listening because we get good responses on social media that people, they want to comment on social media and stuff like that. Well, here's your chance to really chime in.
Exactly.
And be noticed.
Get shit off your chest. This is the place to do it. Where else are you going to be able to do that, huh? Nobody's listening. At least you come here and we'll listen to you. Me, Z-Man, and Jake are going to listen to you, and all our listeners that we send it out to will listen to you. So
I'm with it, Joe.
You got it. All right. Well, we'll see you next time on Off the Chest. Z-Man and Jake, great job. We'll look forward to you next week, and we'll see how you do with your picks, Z-Man. And from Off the Chest, see you next time.